Hi, it's Ree Mills, your VBA craftsman. Today I'm going to talk about a request I had from a customer, and it got a little involved, but this is the first part of it, right? So we've been building a very complex set of reporting schedules and some unbelievable dashboards, and I'll share some of the stuff that I learned. So let's begin. So his request was that we're going to be sending out these spreadsheets, and this is just a simple one that I created just for the purposes of this demo. But basically, it goes out to the customer fills it out, and he hits a button and it emails in the results, right? Really simple, right? So I'm going to take you through how I did all that, and it's actually pretty neat. So, but the first part of it is he did not want them to mess with certain parts of the spreadsheet, right? Which anybody who's done any work where you share spreadsheets and you say, and you give instructions, please don't change this, right? Well, I've been a controller. We've done that, and I've been there at 9 o'clock at night and run the consolidation, and what do you know? It doesn't work. Why? Because someone insisted on putting in something that did not belong there, right? So in this case, we're going to avoid that. So all we want the customer to do is to input these columns, right? Simple enough, right? So this is MJ Trucking, Philadelphia office. It's November 2020, and it's broken down to holes under 50 pounds, holes over 50 pounds, A holes, B holes, C holes. A stands for short distance, intermediate, and then these are longer distance, right? So these are the ones they make a lot of money on. Anyway, bottom line, here's what happened for the Philadelphia office for the first 12 days of May, okay? I'm sorry, why is this saying May when we have... Because I was fooling with it. I'm sorry. Okay, let's make it May. There you go. Oh, look, I can't change it. It came back with an error. But I can. So let's tell you. Let's talk about the first thing. If ever you use the worksheet change event, which I did, and this is what we built this on, you have to be aware of the application enable events. So let's turn that off. Application enable events. Those are the events that fire, like the change events, etc., right? So let's make it false. This is the immediate window. And without a question mark, it becomes a command. So we want to make this May 1st, right? So this is working perfectly. Let's make this 051, okay? So there you go, May 1st. And because we made it false, it didn't fire the event. So let's go back and turn it back on. It's back up. Okay, easy enough. So remember that application enable events. And if you use the change event, you're probably going to want to be aware of that because you may want to run other code that affects this spreadsheet, and you don't want the change event, maybe the consolidation. So you turn off this so that if you're pulling it in or you're changing anything, you have control, and that's a really powerful thing. All right, so let's go back. So we want to change this. We don't want to change. Let's look what we don't want to change. Okay, so let's start. I don't want to. I'm going to hold down the control key and say I don't want to change this. Right? I don't want to change, no, oh, I'm sorry. Let's change that. I don't want to change this, and I'm going to hold down the control key now. All right. I don't want to change this. I don't want to change the total. Right? And I don't want to change this total. Right? So I let up on the control key. And then I go over here and I say selection, question mark, selection address, right? And if I hit enter, it's going to come back with all the selections I made. So let's take a look. Oh, the totals on the bottom I probably want to add. Well, let's manually add those in. Let's have some fun. Okay, so if we go to my spreadsheet, we don't even have to do that. If we go to my spreadsheet here, if we go to my code here, you'll see I've created a change event. You do that by going into the sheet one. In this case, that's what I call sheet one, which is the Philadelphia office, right? And you select worksheet, then you select change, and it's going to automatically create these two lines and the end. And then we're going to fill it up with code. So we're going to declare our protection as a range, and then we're going to set the range, right? The range is what we just selected. Well, I did that previously, and I got that bottom row, which is fine. So set our protection equal to range this. So now we have it, right? Now we're going to say this, the worksheet change event, kicks back an object called target. Target is a range. Target range has an address, and you can use it for the intersect function, the intersect function, says if target, the cell or cells we're changing, overlaps with what we said is our range, then we know it's in the forbidden zone. You're not allowed to change those, right? So if it isn't, you do nothing. So if we say if intersect is nothing, it does not intersect, right? Intersect. It does not intersect, right? So then does not intersect, do nothing, right? And then if it does intersect, we pop up our message box. Now, what I also do is, and I undo the changes, right? But before I do that, I turn events off. And why do I do that? This is important to know. So if I change, these are, if you look at cell 2 is dependent on cell 1. And so are the rest, right? So if I change cell 4, all the rest will change. So the change event is going to fire for each one of those cells. But if I turn it off, I can undo the event, bring it back to what it was, and then enable, and the rest of those cells are not going to fire, and it's going to run. Otherwise, it's going to run 20 times or whatever. So that's an important thing. So managing the event status, whether you have an on or off, or false or true, enable events, will be very helpful if you use the worksheet change function, okay? Simple enough. So this is a pretty straightforward thing. A couple of things I want to talk about too. Okay, so we could have done the intersect for multiple ranges, like up on top we might say, please don't change the heading. The reason, this was decided and this is the agreed upon heading, please do not mess with it, right? We could go down this. There's no reason for you to be changing. There is no reason to change the dates. This is what we're reporting is done daily. Please do not insert rows, right? Do not change the totals, because that could cause there to be an incorrect number in there. So you could customize by testing this intersect and use it on different ranges. So instead of doing it for one intersect, you could do 5 or 6, right? But whatever you wanted. And you can control the message and make it more custom, and depending upon what the user is doing. Now, in my case, I didn't use a message box as I did here, right? So just to take you through this, I want to make sure that I do that. So I declare the range, right? We copied that. How did I get the range? I highlighted everything, held down the control key, was able to select multiple addresses. I said select an address, copied this, dropped it in, bam. I said if intersect target, well, target's what's coming back. Range we've already set, then we know it's a match. If it didn't match, do nothing. If it does match, pop up our box, turn the events off, undo it, and then turn my events back on. Very simple, very powerful. So if you're not familiar with the change event, it offers a lot of flexibility, and you can have a lot of fun with it. So I think I've covered everything, pretty straightforward, and I have fun with it. Thanks. Again, it's Ray Mills with VBA Craftsman, and it's going to be out on my website if you want to download the spreadsheet and play with it. Thanks.